you, Chris. We're standing by at Riverfront Stadium where a sellout crowd hopes the Bengals can stop the bleeding against the resurgent Pittsburgh Steelers. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Joe Theismann, and in less than an hour we will have the battle for first place in the AFC Central between the Steelers and the Bengals. A lot has been written about the resurgence of the Steelers' offense, and rightfully so, but it has been their defense that's carried them all year long.
It really has, Mike. They have played together now for 2 years. They've gone up against 5 of the top offenses in the National Football League, not to mention the guys that run them. For example, against Warren Moon, this defense intercepted 4 passes. But that was just the beginning of the woes against the best. Joe Montana comes in, they pick off 2 of his and hold him to 157 yards passing. Then they go down to Atlanta and get the Miller guy. 110 passes without an interception, goes up against the Steelers, they pick 3 off. They weren't finished with that bunch. You consider Marino, Elway, and Everett, all top quarterbacks in the National Football League. They've shut down the top guns in the league.
Done a super job. The Cincinnati defense, on the other hand, will be facing an offense on a roll, and they'll have to do it without some of their best people.
They really will, and the one that's going to be missed the most is Dave Fulcher. He's the spiritual leader. He's the big play man. Also questionable is James Francis. He leads the team in sacks. So with those 2 out, the task is going to be trying to stop what New Orleans did against them a few weeks ago. That's for rush. That's rush for almost 250 yards.
This will be the 40th meeting between these teams in the last 20 years, and the one thing they've never had to do is get the players up for it.
This is my type of football, the old, good old days of football, down and dirty in the middle where they're going to trap you, double you, and run certain plays right at you. None of this spread 3 guys out and just do that run and shoot stuff. That's not called real football, I don't think.
Coming up at 8 Eastern, the battle for first place in the AFC Central, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Let's go back to Chris.
And the Steelers, Boomer limbering up. Top of the hour, live here on ESPN from Riverfront in Cincinnati.
It's the best of times and the worst of times. It's a tale of 2 cities linked by the Ohio River, yet distinctively detached. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati share an intense rivalry that plays on any stage. But it's on the gridiron where the Steelers and the Bengals fan the interstate flames. 1990 saw these 2 teams break from the gate in opposite directions. The Boomer-led Bengals exploded to victories in 4 of their first 5, while the punchless Steelers slumped through September without scoring an offensive touchdown. But with October came a strange twist, and despite the early disparity, both teams find themselves locked in a first-place tie. Only now it's the Bengals who ponder a tenuous position, while the Steelers are mounting a mid-season charge. First place in the AFC Central is on the line. Teams headed in opposite directions. The Bengals have lost 3 of their last 4. The Steelers have won 4 of their last 5. As always, it's my pleasure to be working with Joe Theismann. And Joe, in the first 4 games, the Pittsburgh offense was awful. The last 5 games, they've been blowing people away. What turned it around?
A guy by the name of Bubby Brister, and it's the simplest of things they did. They changed the way he got the plays. Instead of sending the entire play in by signal, they signal the formation in, and the players bring the play in. So now he knows what he wants to do. He has it in his mind. He's become very effective. 13 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions in his last 5 games.
The Steeler defense has been able to shut down people all year long, but the Cincinnati offense hasn't needed any help shutting itself down. They've been doing it themselves.
They really have, and you can't blame them totally for one reason. They haven't had their full complement of weapons. McGee's been out. Brown's been hurt. Ickey Woods is coming back off that knee injury. Brooks has not been healthy. And interestingly enough, talking to Sam Weish at practice, he had concerns about Boomer's wrist. But now everybody is healthy. In a game like this, though, it always boils down to hard hitting. And if you're looking for hard hitting, probably a big play is going to come somewhere out of the special teams.
Sam Weish, 56 and 51 in his 7th year as the Bengals head coach. That includes an AFC championship. And Chuck Noll, one of the legends in this game, working on his 200th career victory. He's at 198 and counting right now. He'd love to get 199 here in Cincinnati. Weather conditions not bad here in Cincinnati tonight. Temperature in the low 40s. Very little wind and no chance of rain. And a sellout crowd of more than 60,000 as they would like to see the Bengals get back on track. And now that they have their offensive players healthy, they think they have a shot at it. Gary Anderson will handle the kicking chores tonight. Stanford Jennings 36 and Eric Ball 42 waiting at the goal line. And the Steelers have not done a good job of covering kickoffs tonight or this year. Short kickoff. Jennings at the 10. Reverse. Lynn James. He's got a seam. Anderson to beat. And Anderson, the kicker, shoved him out of bounds. A return of 43.
When you're looking to get your football team fired up, you pull out all the stops, and this is what Sam has done. They start a reverse. The Steelers know they haven't covered kicks very well, so they're very aggressive down the field. Now the wall is set up. Good job by Gary Anderson, just getting James to move a little bit out of bounds.
So the Bengals with great field position. They start at the Steeler 48-yard line. Ickey Woods is the single setback. Brooks on a wing. Woods will get the carry. Wrapped up as he got back to the line of scrimmage. And Greg Lloyd got it.
The Bengals going to their attack offense. You know, Mike, in a situation like this, you've just opened the game with a big play. I wouldn't be surprised if you go at the strength of the Steeler defense, who is Ron Woodson. Figure out a way, maybe to isolate him, maybe to go up top right away. Just put some more pressure on it. You got it rolling your way. Keep it up.
Most people have been throwing to the other side, and that's for David Johnson. Brown and McGee, the wideouts. Pump fake by Esiason. Going deep for Brown. Knocked away by Woodson and almost intercepted. Well, they tried it and it didn't work.
Well, it makes sense. You know, you want to go at the heart of the defense. Here what happens, Brown does a little out move. Gives a little switch. Now, Woodson, he's beat right there. He is beat by 2 steps, but he has such world-class speed. He gets back to the ball. Boomer probably could have put the ball up a little bit quicker. He and Darrell Green, the 2 best corners for making up space in this game.
3rd and 9. Cincinnati huddling 3 yards from the ball. If they see substitutions coming from the other team, they can get to the line and snap it within 2 seconds. Boomer with plenty of time. Now he scrambles. Slides, and he's short of the first down at the 39-yard line. This is something he has not been doing much of, Joe.
That's right. He told me on Saturday, we sat and looked at films together, and he said, there's 2 things I haven't been doing. I have not been getting away from the center exploding, and for some reason, I have not run with the football like I have in the past. It's going to change in this game. And obviously, he's starting out and trying to take control.
Comes up 2 yards shy of the first down, and it's 4th, and they send in the punting team. No, they don't. They'll go for it, and they caught the Steelers with about 14 guys on the field. Ickey Woods did not get the first down, but penalty flags are everywhere. The Steelers trying to shift personnel, and the Bengals caught him.
12 men on the field.
At least.
Defense. First down.
At least 12 on the field.
Referee Tom Dooley, about half the roster was on the field.
You take a look at this, you'll see how many different people. There they are. Look at, there they go off to the side. Now that's what the Bengals are concerned with, making sure that they've got those people. Boomer just looks out to see how close they are. They snap the ball. Boom, they got him.
So it's a first down. Brooks and Woods set in the backfield. James Brooks. Big hole behind Woods. To the 20, to the 15-yard line. First down. Rod Woodson had to make the tackle after a gain of 19 yards for James Brooks.
Well, if you want to get something going, you go after an all-pro. Anthony Munoz and Rodney Holman doing the blocks. Holman blocks 1, blocks 2. Brooks hits the hole. Like I said, he's healthy. Not a big guy, but a strong one. There he comes again through the hole. Good blocking by Ickey Woods. I'll tell you, when Cincinnati, Mike, has all their weapons, they are an extremely formidable offense. I mean, where do you go? You try and go up top to Eddie Brown. Then you try and get a screen out.
And now for tonight's diehard starting lineups. The Bengals quarterback, Boomer Esiason. He's accustomed to being at the top of the quarterback ratings. This season, though, he's down to 9th in the AFC. Injuries have hurt the whole offense. The running game has fallen off, although James Brooks is averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Up front, the tackle of tackles, Anthony Munoz, a superstar for 11 years and a lock for the Hall of Fame. Cincinnati with its opening possession of the game after a fine kickoff return. Gerald Williams was shaken up. He has left the ball game for the Steeler defense, and it's first down Cincinnati at the Pittsburgh 15. Brooks, gaping hole up the middle, tripped as he got across the 10 to the 9. For that Steeler defense, Keith Willis is having a good year. A bit undersized at 263, has to rely on his quickness. In his 10th year, David Little is finally getting some of the recognition he deserves. He is leading the club in tackles for the 4th straight year. The secondary has been superb, so is its leader, Rod Woodson. His blazing speed erases mistakes, and those mistakes occur far less often now. This is a defense that has not given up a touchdown in the last 8 quarters. They've not given up a touchdown through the air in the last 10. Movement up front. Brooks, again, another hole up the middle, closed quickly as he got to about the 8. Up in a hurry from his free safety spot, Thomas Everett, 27, got in there on the first hit. Donald Evans cleaned up along with Hardy Nickerson.
Temper's starting to get a little heated. You saw a little bit of movement by the Steeler front. Boomer does an excellent job with the hard count. You know, the old hut kind of stuff. And wouldn't be surprised if he does that to make sure that the Steelers don't tee off on their offensive line through the course of this game.
3rd and 3 from the 8-yard line. And the Bengals have done a sensational job when they've gotten inside the opposition 20. Woods to the 5. He has to get inside the 5 for the first down. Donald Evans crashed in from his right end spot to make the tackle, along with Greg Lloyd. Another decision for Sam Weiss. No sign of Jim Breach. They will go for it on 4th and inches.
This is an attitude call. That's all it is, Mike. This has nothing more to do but the fact that his football team has been flat. They have not been intense. The crowd is in it now. He's going to take and use the momentum of the crowd to get this first down. That's why he's called it.
They need about the length of a football. Number 20, Craig Taylor, goes to the slot. And Boomer to throw on 4th and inches. Time, dumps it, almost intercepted in the end zone, and it is. Woodson tipped it. Thomas Everett picked it off. So on 4th and a foot, they throw and come up empty.
Boomer rolling to his left. There he is. Actually, Anthony Munoz hooks in. The ball's batted around a little bit. Rodney Holman is there. He tried to get the ball to Lynn James, number 80. There you see it. James comes in behind Woodson. Actually, it's Brooks coming into the picture. Everett winds up with the ball.
Everett gets his 3rd interception, and the Steeler defense does the job again. Worley starting at tailback, and Brister to throw on first down, complete to Lips, but the official stopped the play. Someone on the Pittsburgh offensive line moved early.
That was Terry Long on the right side. You don't think the pace of this game is jacked up just a little? And then plus, you got Bubby Brister, whose motor runs at about twice the speed of sound anyway, calling signals.
Well, this offense has been spectacular. In the last 5 games, they've averaged nearly 30 points a game. They're literally blowing people away after going the first 4 games without scoring a touchdown. It's amazing. 1st and 15. Hodge and Worley the back. Worley. He'll get a couple. Steelers, of course, led by Brister in the last 5 games. 13 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and a quarterback rating that's almost off the scale. For 7 years, Lewis Lips has been an impact player, not only a complete receiver, but a great blocker. Tunch Ilkin on IR. Terry Long is the veteran on the line. At 5'11", he is the shortest lineman in the NFL.
Somebody I might have a chance of seeing over. Oh, my guys, Jacoby 6'7".
Hasn't seemed to hurt him very much. 2nd and 12. Comes the blitz. Brister gets rid of it and threw it well behind Hill, who was going across the middle. Take a look at that troubled Cincinnati defense. Tim Crumry anchors the line. He's still a fine nose man, but he's not back to the level of play before he had the broken leg. Kevin Walker's been given a shot at inside linebacker, and he now leads the team in tackles. Lewis Phillips is an excellent man-to-man defender in a secondary that is missing both David Fulcher and Eric Thomas. Thomas has been out all year after tearing up a knee in a pickup basketball game. 3rd and 12 now. And look at the difference in Brister through the first 4 and the last 5. It's been awesome. 4-man rush draw. Merrill Hodge dumped as he got to the 28-yard line, and Solomon Wilcox, the free safety, upended him.
It's a good call on 3rd down. I mean, sometimes people say, well, geez, it's 3rd down and 14. Why don't you put it up for 15 yards? You're backed up in your own end. It's early in the ball game. You get your punter out to good field position. Let your defense go out and play.
Dan Straczynski will come on to punt. Number 11 in the NFL, and Mitchell Price, who has had a fine return season as a rookie, waits at his own 25. Low snap. Straczynski comes up with it. Floater. Price, the late signal for a fair catch, makes it at the 36-yard line. A punt of 36, no return. We are scoreless in Cincinnati. Second possession of the first quarter. There is no score from the jungle. Woods straight ahead. Gets a couple. The Steelers defense has not given up much to anybody this year. They have just been so tough, especially against the pass, but the linebacking has really come along. They're very pleased with the addition of Greg Lloyd. You just saw him get up number 95. He's the rookie linebacker out of third-year linebacker out of Fort Valley State. Missed the first year and a half with knee injuries, and he is a wicked hitter.
Lower left part of your screen, you see the play clock. Normally teams wait to get down to about 5 to snap it. Bengals get it off at 13.
Boomer with time and airmails it over the head of Eddie Brown. And that has been the problem with Esiason in recent weeks. He'll have a man open, he'll airmail it over his head, or he'll skip it to him. It is not the Boomer we have come to expect.
And it's not the Boomer that he expects either. It's interesting the way the offense is set up. Now he's calling the play. They use different types of terminology. They use cities, they use months, they use days of the week. They all mean certain plays. And you see that he'll get the ball off about 10 to 20 seconds earlier than most guys.
3rd and 9. Esiason with time, throws complete this time across midfield for the first down. Brown makes the catch. A gain of 14. They have literally developed their own language for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengalese, as it's called. Now, Eddie Brown is a very important part of the offense, and it's important for Boomer to complete it. This is just a simple, quick go out, turn around, let me pop you the ball. Steelers given some cushion. They play a combination man-to-man zone defense.
and you really got to put pressure on him.
Woods hits the line of scrimmage, fights forward for maybe a yard. Donald Evans, you may remember that name. He was drafted by the Rams as a defensive end. They switched him to fullback. He was cut. He signed with the Eagles, broke his jaw there. He was out of football in '89, and now he is back as a defensive end. Came out of Little Winston-Salem State, another one of those guys that really had trouble adjusting to the big time.
Well, and another guy who finally got up to the size and has found, because of the age of specialization, has found that he's found a niche to play in.
Second, call it 8. Out in the flat to Woods. Fought off one tackle, but look at the Steelers close. Carnell Lake hit him and shoved him back, and then Hardy Nickerson, the linebacker, got over there in a hurry.
Atlanta Falcons secondary, Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, they get such tremendous closing and support. Wouldn't be surprised if you try and run a little play action. You've got aggressive guys. Saw the Bengals do it earlier with Woodson. Don't be surprised if they try and go up top through the course with each quarter, maybe.
3rd and 5. I know you're comparing Atlanta and Pittsburgh defense in style, not in result.
Intensity.
Straight 4-man rush to Sison with time. Running for the first down and slid. This will be an interesting mark. When you first start to slide, that's where they mark it. Not where you end up or where you're hit.
Not where the ball ends up either.
Right.
It's very important. Boomer Esiason taking charge there. He's looking left. Feels the pressure coming from the left side. Now he says, all right, I think I can pick it up. Glances out to the right to see where the sticks are. Now he slides in, and he's safe. Question is, did he make it? Yes.
By the length of the football.
When I played, I had to get hit somehow early in the game. I know you said guys walk up and hit you in the locker room. That's not good. I had to get hit somewhere in the game to get the butterflies out. The completion was important to Boomer, relaxes him a little bit. Running the ball a little bit relaxes him a little bit.
Harold Green is checked into the Cincinnati backfield. He's number 28. And the rookie from South Carolina will get the carry. Breaks it outside. What a job by Thomas Everett, coming up from the safety spot and cut his legs out from under him.
You know, he's just a 4-year guy. Woodson's a 4-year guy. Carnell Lake's in his 2nd year. Of course, David Johnson now in his 2nd year. That's a secondary that's learning to play together. With an attack offense that the Bengals are using, the Steelers have had to come up with an attack defense. They've cut down a lot of the terminology. They say one word, whatever it is, that tells everybody what to do.
2nd and 6 from the Pittsburgh 34. Dyson again with 20 times, throws too high, had McGee open and missed him.
I think you can, Boomer put it as well as anybody when he talked about his play the last 4 weeks. He's in a funk. No other way to describe it. You know, in baseball they call it a slump. There are the numbers. The most outstanding is the touchdown productions. Interceptions happen. The ball gets batted around, gets up in the air. But the falling off of his touchdown pass production is a very outstanding number to me.
3rd and 6. And he has shouldered a great deal of the blame himself, too. He's very upfront about it. 4-man rush, no pressure, dump off to Woods. First down to the 21-yard line. Thomas Everett and David Johnson made the tackle, but it's a gain of 14 and a first down. This may be the only weak link you see in the Steelers' defense. They do not have that dominant pass rusher.
Well, the thing is they only rush 3 people, whether you got a dominant pass rusher or not. They're really only 3 people going. Look at the space and time he has to throw the ball. Ickey had every chance to pick anywhere he wanted to go to hang around till Boomer threw him the ball.
10th play of this drive coming up for Cincinnati. The first time they were picked off in the end zone after a great kickoff return set them up. Brooks following Woods. Got a nice block from it, but tripped up by Carnell Lake And the Steelers safety, both the strong safety Lake and the free safety Thomas Everett, get up to the line of scrimmage very, very quickly.
What happens is when you get strong supporting secondary people, you want to start, watch the direct, see how he goes. Now, he starts into the middle and then cuts it all the way across the formation following his guard. What they try and do is get support to commit and then go where they're not.
Play action by Esiason. Runs it again. Dives head forward to the 11, maybe half a yard shy of a first down. And David Little, the 10-year veteran, made the stop.
He didn't know which way to slide. Boomer hasn't run in so long, he's forgotten how to get down. Do I go head first? Do I turn and slide on my right leg? Do I turn and slide on my left leg?
You go head first, you lose your protection. You're just like anybody else. They can drill you. You have to slide feet first to have that, you know, quarterback I'm wearing a dress kind of protection.
Yeah, and it works too. Sure. You ask the guys that slide to see if they back off and say, oh, gee, we're not supposed to hit you. Sorry.
Esiason, 3 carries, 19 yards, 3rd and 1 here. Brooks. First down. All the way to the 5-yard line. 3 or 4 times so far tonight, Ickey Woods has led James Brooks for outstanding yardage. And he's gotten his man every time. Lake and Johnson had to stop him at the 5. Quick play, and it's picked off. There is a flag down again. And they may have caught the Steelers with more than 11 on the field one more time.
That hurry-up offense caught us. We wanted to show you something. They're busy running another play.
Johnson made the interception. We'll check the flag. Now remember, if the Bengals try to substitute, they have to give the Steelers a chance to substitute.
But if they don't substitute and just hurry to the line of scrimmage while they are substituting.
Have illegal motion, number 87 on the offense. Delay of game, 12 men on the defense. We will replay first down. The penalty's offset.
So we'll start all over from the 5-yard line. 1st and goal. Only 2:06 to go in the scoreless first quarter.
And this is how efficiently this offense can operate. They've already gotten what would have been 2 cheap penalties. Turns out they were moving to negate that.
Drive has taken nearly 7 minutes off the first period clock. Size changing the formation. Brooks and Woods are split. Ickey Woods cuts it up the middle, touchdown. And there's the shuffle.
And he's added a little bit to it. This is the new Ickey shuffle. Here's what gets it done. Stretches the defense, gets them thinking outside, then really cuts it up, almost loses his balance, but there's nobody to hit him. Winds up in the end zone.
Munoz and Reimer's outstanding blocks as Breach adds the point after. A little pushing and shoving going on after the point after, and now the officials separate the players, and the point is good. The Bengals have taken a 7-0 lead over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We hadn't played very well against them in the last couple of years. They've been beating us up pretty good, so it's time to turn this around.
Well, in this war, the Bengals have launched the first salvo and lead 7-0. Lee Johnson to kick off. Woodson, one of the most dangerous kick returners in football, is deep. Has it at the 1. World-class speed for this guy. Outran that tackle and then muscles his way past the 15. Ricky Dixon on the stop down on special teams. And it is emotional. 40 times in the last 20 years they have met. The players know each other very, very well.
They don't like each other either.
No, there's that old line, familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah, well, you've seen it.
Brister, who was openly contemptuous of the new offense they put in this year, very outspoken about it. Now he says he loves it. Worley. Crumry waiting for him after a gain of 1. Worley missed 4 straight weeks with a sprained ankle, and they indicated to us that Warren Williams would continue to start. Williams has played very, very well. Does not have Worley's speed.
Worley, though, is somewhat of a limited back, Mike. I mean, he's an eye back. Played in the eye. That's where he's most effective. Williams gives him a little more versatility as a back as well.
Look at the disparity in total plays so far. Merrill Hodge with the single setback. Brister changes the play. 3-man rush in time. The pass complete to Lips. Dives for the sticks, doesn't quite make it. Carl Carter out of Texas Tech made the tackle.
Cincinnati, talk about turning it up a notch. Their defense has just been run over lately. Last 2 games averaged 212 yards rushing. New Orleans rushes for 249 against them. Looks like they've just made their mind up that they're going to make the Steelers throw the football and not going to let them run it against them.
Carl Zander, number 91, one of the inside linebackers, put it very simply. He said they just lined up, told us what they were going to do, and ran it down our throat. 3rd and a yard. Worley on the toss. Cuts it back, 1st down. 1st and 10, the Steelers at their own 29-yard line. Kevin Walker, the leading tackler, number 59, got him there.
You talk about the Steelers, you got to talk about trapping. Terry Long, number 74. You see, this is what happens. The guard gets out, turns up, traps the linebacker, gives Worley an opportunity to turn his shoulders upfield. You got to expect the back to get at least 1 when he's got his shoulders going north and south.
First down of the game for the Steelers, and we've come to the end of the 1st quarter in Cincinnati. The Bengals on top of the Steelers, 7-0. Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh has just recorded its first down of the ball game. Steelers going from their own 29 as the Bengals have dominated the early part of the game. Eric Green, big rookie tight end in motion. Brister with all day to throw, dumps it to Hodge, and Hodge brought down immediately by Kevin Walker. Got some help from Carl Zander, number 91.
This is the one thing that Joe Walton has put into the offense, the check down. Bubby Brister, watch this. He's going to roll this way. You see him moving this way. That's Merrill Hodge. He's going to check down in that open area. There it is right there. Bubby just slides to get open. It's designed to pick up about 7 or 8 yards. It replaces most screens in a lot of offenses.
Joe wouldn't look right if he had that cap turned around.
Would recognize it.
Worley struggles for yards across the 40 to the 41. That'll be another 1st down. Zander and Crumry made the tackle.
What's being signaled in now is the formation. The formation is being signaled in by Strom, and as the player comes in, he whispers the numbers in Bubby's ear. So you take the formation, whatever it will be, he gets the numbers, steps in the huddle, calls the play, ready, break, and he's in his rhythm.
1st and 10, Pittsburgh. Hodge only gets a couple. Carl Zander made the stop again. Hodge is one of those backs that people like to root for. The first guy since Franco Harris to lead the club in both receiving and rushing the ball. That was in 1988. Not a lot of speed, but he gives you everything he has every play.
Also mentioned that Joe Walton was the first coach to ever really communicate with him. He talks to him about whether he likes a play, whether or not he feels comfortable running a route, whether there's a better way to do it. He really feels like he's a contributing part of the offense, not just running it, but involved in it.
2nd and 8. Blitz coming. Brister with time. Dump off to Green, the big tight end from Liberty. Look at the strength in this guy. Down to the 47-yard line, dragging White with him, a gain of 9. He held out. And Chuck Knowles said he's not going to be able to help us this year. All he did was show up and catch 6 touchdown passes.
He and Lawrence Taylor have really created problems for coaches trying to get players to come into training camp. Look at the strength he has. As big as he is, 6'5", 275 pounds, and he is every inch of that.
Coming into the game, he caught 13 passes, 6 of them for touchdowns. Another first down for the Steelers. First time in Cincinnati territory. And the left tackle, John Jackson, gets an early start, and that'll cost him 5.
False start, 65 offense, first down.
Both teams taking a little time to settle down. Cincinnati looked like they were a little uneasy in the beginning. Pittsburgh now is finding its rhythm a little bit, but still a little uncertain.
Well, this is obviously a big game for both of them, especially since they will play again 2 weeks from now in Pittsburgh. 1st and 15. Brister throws complete to Stone. He dropped it. Stone had always been a running back until last year. They made him a wide receiver, and his teammates have really been on him this year. He stepped out of bounds on 2 short touchdowns. I mean, he just stepped out of bounds. Nobody pushed him, and he comes out to practice, and they show him where the sideline is and say, look, this is the Canadian League, you'd be in business.
Gary Anderson took some at an athletic tape and drew a sideline in front of his locker to show him where he should stay on the other side of it. Don't go out of bounds.
2nd and 15. Worley. Nice hold of the 45 to the 43-yard line. Barney Bussey, the strong safety who's playing in place of the injured David Fulcher, brought him down along with Solomon Wilcox.
Right side, Tom Ricketts, the right tackle, number 71. Terry Long, number 74. Starts back like it's a waggle. Now you see him fill the hole. Merrill Hodge coming up, meets the linebacker. Long out in front. Worley does a nice job of staying with his people. Good eyes, good vision. Find the big guys, get in their hip pocket, and let them hit people.
3rd and 5. Deepest penetration for the Steelers tonight, and it's been a good drive. Four-man rush. And Brister just airmails this to the sideline. A flag is down. Thrown by the referee, and that's the man who calls intentional grounding. Brister pleading his case. It will not work. Skip McClendon, number 72, was putting on the pressure.
We have intentional grounding against number 6 of the offense. Loss of down, 4th down.
Now, the rule is, it used to be if there was an offensive player in the area and you threw it, that's fine. The way it is now, if you are scrambling around, as he was there, to avoid a sack, it doesn't matter if an offensive guy or a band member is in the area. You're going to get flagged for it. That's why the flag was thrown.
Straczynski comes in to punt on 4th down. That's Mitchell Price, the rookie from Tulane, waiting at his own 16.
Against the Rams, he threw one to the tuba player.
High spiral. Fair catch signal. Price makes it at 12. A punt of 40 and no return. 10:54 to go first half. Still 7-0 Bengals. By a touchdown.
Cincinnati has been having their troubles running the football as compared to years, and that's really what makes Boomer go. Here you see the numbers. The last 2 seasons, 35 games, they only had 3 games under 100 yards. So far in 9 this year, they've already had 4. Now, this evening, they wanted to come out and try and run the football a little bit, establish a running game, take a little pressure off of Boomer, and they've done it.
I think one of the things that makes it so significant, their lack of a running game, is they use a lot of play action, and if you're not running the ball well, nobody buys the play action.
And there's the yards rushing. Cincinnati 69, Pittsburgh only 37.
Esiason throws to McGee at the 20. Covered in a hurry by Johnson. You're not going to get a whole lot out of the Steelers secondary. They have been superb.
And the Bengals, the coaches talked to me. They said, we're not interested in trying to just beat them big. We want to take the little stuff. We'll be patient. We'll take the 3 6-yarders and just move down the field.
The other thing about the Cincinnati rushing game, they lost Max Montoya, their all-pro guard, to Plan B. They were convinced that they could leave him unprotected, and he wouldn't leave. He has some business interests around here. But he took the offer from the Raiders. Brooks, nice hole across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Stopped by Keith Willis, who chased him down from his defensive end spot. Brooks with 40 yards on 6 carries tonight. And the little guy just keeps getting it done.
Well, he does. What happens is you'll see him head for point of attack. What happens here is he heads for point of attack and just keeps coming back. And the defense flows, they take him, and he goes the other way. Now watch him come back. See it? Now it stretches it, creates a big hole, run up, get 5 yards.
First down for Cincinnati from their own 46. Trap, Brooks bounces off a tackle, cuts it outside, and a wave of white shirts waiting for it. Looks like a Steeler defensive old. Brian Hinkle and Carnell Lake in on the stop. Hinkle had a great game against the Falcons a couple of weeks ago. 11 tackles, forced a fumble, made a fumble recovery. Second and 8. Esiason with a quick toss to Brown. Brought down at the 31-yard line. Nice tackle by Johnson. Made sure he didn't get any more. The other thing about this attack offense, Joe, is that it forces the other team to play with their best 11 guys on defense. And the Steelers are very well equipped to do that. They don't have to bring in a lot of extra personnel.
When I talked to Dave Brazil last night, their defensive coordinator, he said that doesn't bother them. They feel like they've got 11 people out there. Sure, they'd like to substitute in special situations. But as long as Cincinnati has their 11 out there, they feel they can match up with it.
3rd and 5. Brooks. Gaping hole, first down and a lot more to midfield. Fighting off tackles down to the Pittsburgh 46-yard line. Rod Woodson and David Johnson finally chased him down. Ickey Woods again with a fine block. And Brooks, the 10-year man out of Auburn, doesn't seem to have lost anything.
It's the same play they've been running. He starts one way, gets the defensive ball. Watch, starts to the right of your screen, cuts back, and you're right, a gaping hole, Mike. The Steelers are forced to take false steps, does a good job making Thomas Everett miss. Rod Woodson has to make the tackle, but all they're doing is getting the Steelers to commit and cutting back against the grain.
Nice fake by Esiason. Dumps it off to his tight end, Caddis. Caddis down to the Pittsburgh 34-yard line. It will be another first down. Woodson had to make the tackle, a gain of 13. It's only the 6th catch this year for Eric Caddis.
Boomer Esiason and Joe Montana, the 2 best play-faking quarterbacks in the National Football League. That's why they get people open so often. Here's the result of it. You see how wide, ugly pass, but effective. Also takes a shot, and Caddis picks up the first down. But they do such a great job of faking. But that also has to come from a running game, which the Bengals have tonight.
Boomer, 6 out of 10, 56 yards. He did throw the 1 interception that cost him a score on the first possession. Green. Not much there. Nice job by Greg Lloyd, the outside linebacker, to bring him down. A lot of players get compliments from other coaches. Lloyd got one from Jerry Glanville. He said, he'll cheap shot you, he'll hit you in the back, he'll do whatever it takes. I love him.
My kind of guy.
Yes. Lloyd does have an attitude. He admits to that, but he says it makes him a pretty good linebacker. He is intense.
I'll agree with that.
2nd and 9. Esiason again with time and a quick release to Brown. Almost had his head taken off by Woodson, and flags go down. Woodson knew it, too.
Well, he just reached in to try and grab his shoulder, wound up with a little bit of his face.
See if it's 5 or 15.
They called it a personal foul. Now, that was what that hacking motion was by the referee, Tom Dooley.
We have a personal foul. Face mask. 26 on the offense. First down.
That's 15.
That's a major. That's the first time I've seen a major in a while. You see Woodson, watch his right hand. He's got him. He doesn't let him go. He pulls him down by it. That's the way they judged it.
If you change a guy's direction with his face mask, that's 15.
Also changed the direction of his face.
Cincinnati very impressive on offense so far tonight, and they have kept the Steeler defense on the field nearly the entire game. Brooks got a good block from Taylor inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Lloyd and Everett made the tackle.
They just keep running over Anthony Munoz on the left side and Ken Moyer. That left side, the left guard, Moyer, the left tackle, Munoz. They're just moving the Steelers out. Donald Evans, Gerald Williams playing over the nose, just getting pushed back a few yards and creating a hole.
Well, if you're a defensive end and you go out there and Munoz lines up in front of you, you know it's going to be a long night.
Probably,
he may be the best that ever played that position.
Probably on his way to his 10th consecutive Pro Bowl. He's got my vote already.
2nd and 5. Brooks again that counter play inside the 5 to the 4. Hinkle made the tackle. It's not like the counter play the Redskins use where it's one drop step and then you go. It's more of a misdirection play.
It really is. What it basically is, here, take a look at it. Do a little chart work for you. As it comes up, you'll see right here, what they do is they just want these people to take false steps. That's all they want this defense to do. Then they bring a guard or somebody and move him that way, and he has a chance to run with the ball. See how they slide? Now they bring it back, and Ickey Woods really is the lead blocker. They just bring the tackle across the formation. The Steelers are going to have to change what they're doing. You can't line up. They want to play smash mouth. Isn't going to work. They're going to have to start bringing some secondary people, and they're going to have to start bringing some linebackers to shut down those gaps that the Bengals are running.
Bengals have a timeout with 4:15 to go in the half. They're facing a 3rd and 1. Cincinnati leading Pittsburgh 7-0 as we hit the closing minutes of the first half. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann, glad you could join us from Cincinnati. And if you're a Bengals fan, you have to love the offense tonight.
Well, you have to love the balance they have. In this particular drive, which has been 72 yards, they've thrown 4 passes for 32, run the ball 6 times for 40. Exactly what Sam White's wanted. Get some balance back in the attack.
The first time since September of '87 they have had all 6 of their principal skill position players on the field at the same time starting the ball game. And people, I think, overlook how important that is.
You got starters in this game. They have to be there for you to win. You can't get by with people that aren't starters. First of all, the starters get all the practice time. The secondary guys, even in training camp, your backups don't get the amount of work that your starters get.
Munoz lines up as an eligible receiver on the right side. Taylor is in there with Woods on 3rd and 1. Looked like a mix-up in the snap count. Several people weren't moving when Boomer got the ball, and Woods fell forward to the 5. Looks like he's short of the first down. We'll wait on the mark.
Looked like Ickey got off on the ball, and everybody else was sort of standing still.
And on 4th down, here comes Jim Breach. So the Bengals, for all their domination, lost a potential touchdown on their first possession with an interception. Got a touchdown later. Now it appears they'll have to settle for a field goal.
Yeah, but you know, you try a reverse on the opening kickoff. You got to have other kinds of trick plays in every part of your kicking game. I mean, who knows? It's a perfect opportunity maybe for a fake.
Johnson, the holder, and Breach drills it through. So the Bengals, after another long drive, add 3 to their total and lead 10-0. ESPN Sunday Night NFL is brought to you by Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealer. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. By ITT Hartford. When you need us most, we're at our best. And by Hewlett-Packard LaserJet printers. They'll get you noticed. That's the John A. Roebling Bridge in Cincinnati. It was the model for the Brooklyn Bridge. You learn more than football here.
Yeah. News Center.
Cincinnati has learned its offense has come back to life. 3 great drives, and they turn 2 of them into scores and lead 10-0.
Just over 3 minutes to go in the half. Each team has had the ball only 3 times.
Johnson, line drive kick. Woodson handles it inside the 10. And a fine return out across the 35 to the 36-yard line. We have a timeout here in Cincinnati. 3:14 to go in the half. The Bengals by 10. To go first half from Cincinnati. It's been all Bengals. They lead at 10-0. We talked earlier about Chuck Noll and Joe Walton and the new offense that they put in and the terrible time they had adjusting to it. And it's hard to believe that just terminology made it such a big turnaround.
Oh, it really does. And the thing is what it does is it gives a quarterback confidence. And that's the thing that Joe Walton wanted to instill in Bubby. He wanted him to have confidence and believe in the offense.
He could use a confidence builder right now. The Steelers have not moved the ball very well. Pocket collapsing. The pass to Green. Runaway train as he crosses the 50. There's a flag down on the play. Gain of 16. Phillips and Zander in on the stop. And it will go against Cincinnati.
Now, we talked about this is the type of play, Mike. This is the thing. A wide receiver would run into the huddle and go slot split right, Z short motion, 77 X7, 67 F high. Now you repeat that.
Say what?
And then you repeat it. And this is what the play looks like. There's the short motion by the Z. There is the 77 by the two wide receivers on the right side. And there is the F high. And the 67 is in reference to the blocking of the X, which is the tight end in this instance. That's what Bubby has to communicate in the huddle.
It's the 1st and 10. Ball in Cincinnati territory at the 48. Here comes the blitz. Brister somehow avoids the rush with time, goes deep, and throws it out of bounds. Intended for Lips, covered very well by Carl Carter.
I'll bet you're wondering now, why did he get a flag on the last one and he didn't get a flag? Because they weren't quite close enough to get their hands on it. The last time they were within grasping range, they figure, okay, you threw it away. This time, he was running around, just threw the ball away. It's clean. Here's the play coming in. He's got it, got the formation, gets in the huddle.
It's Rick Strom, number 11, the backup quarterback out of Georgia Tech. 2nd and 10, Pittsburgh. 2:42 to go in the half. Worley. Got a chance. Carl Carter, the only man who can bring him down, and does at the 10. A gain of 38 yards for Tim Worley out of Georgia. That's why they have him back in the starting lineup. He can break it for you.
Well, this is the other way around. This is an over lead draw. He'll come from the right side, sets like it's going to be pass. The Bengals have committed. Now here's the cutback. Look at the vision. Got great speed, great vision. Doesn't lose any north-south speed, but yet manages to cut off at an angle towards the end zone.
Worley with 6 carries, 61 yards. We've hit the 2-minute warning here in Cincinnati. It's 10-0 Bengals, and we'll be back in a moment. 10-yard line. Steelers inside the 20. They've gotten a lot of production. Intended for Hill and had it knocked away by Phillips. He is their best cover man and did a great job on that one.
Little bit of hesitation by Bubby trying to get it off on the trigger. A play like that, you got to spin around, set, and fire. You can't really look and see where the receiver's going. You almost have to fire to a spot, not to an individual. That time, he had to wait to clear the linebackers just for a second. Got it there just a little late. Gave Phillips a chance to catch up with him.
Most of his touchdowns have come in this area. Hodge and Worley in the backfield. Worley. No place to go. Carter up from the corner, the first man to hit him at the line of scrimmage.
The key on sweeps is to try and get across the line of scrimmage. The Bengals know the Steelers want to trap. They want, if they're going to get trapped on the other side of the ball. Look at the penetration by the linebackers. That's a big key. James Francis in there creating a problem. Take away the lead blockers. Give your opportunity for your teammates to come in and fill. That's exactly what he did.
Chuck Noll rarely changes expression on the sideline. Earlier in the year, he did a couple of bursts of anger.
And he deserves a lot of credit for the Steelers being able to play they didn't play. He's been very patient.
Richard Bell, number 21, in for Pittsburgh. 3rd and goal. Hodge is wide open. He threw it to him late. Phillips got a hand on it. At the start of the play, Merrill Hodge was wide open out of the backfield. And it's the Cincinnati defense getting the cheers.
On this play, the motion comes from the outside, as we talked about. The motion comes on the outside. Both receivers run in. They try and get it out to the flat. He didn't have time to get it to him.
Gary
he hesitates. Too late.
Excuse me, Joe. Gary Anderson, the 3rd most accurate pitcher in the history of the league, was on to try a 26-yarder. Fake. Straczynski, the punter. Touchdown. No. He stopped it in short. Barney Bussey. And the Steelers are really upset. Straczynski with the dive, and I thought he made it. The official came from the far side and said no.
He can't believe he didn't get in. The Steelers can't believe he didn't get in. You've got to assume that this is one they're going to take a look at. Here it is. Anderson comes on, does his motion. They block, they set. He holds the ball on the ground. Everybody's frozen. You see the linebacker who was the wingman. Now he starts to go up. Now the question is, does the ball break the plane? That's all that has to happen. No.
No.
It's a good call.
It's a heck of a call by the side judge, Dean Look. Cincinnati will start about 6 inches from its goal line, and the credit goes to Barney Bussey. A tremendous defensive play.
Well, he had dropped back into coverage. He actually covered the receiver as well as came up and made the play. Watch where the ball hits, right? There. You see the ball, lower left side of your screen. It never crosses the plane. Remember, the ball has to cross the line or hit it. The ball never quite gets there.
Cincinnati just trying for some breathing room to run out the clock. Well, it was a great place for a fake, and Straczynski carried it out very well. Got 9.5 yards out of it. Needed another 2 inches.
Sometimes, as a ball carrier, you want to try and go up and over. Might almost be better when you're that close, just trying to lower and go through. But here's a guy who just doesn't run with the football that much. You're asking him to do something not common to him. Did the best thing he could with that effort.
That was the first time all year the Cincinnati defense has stopped an opponent in a goal-to-goal situation. We're at halftime. Woodson, number 1 in the AFC. Cincinnati lining up as if to try an onside kick. And the Steelers only have 4 men up at the 45-yard line on that side of the field. They have not adjusted to it yet. Johnson kicks a low liner instead, knocked down by one of the up men, and returned to the 38-yard line. That's Foster, the backup running back. Halftime stats: Cincinnati dominating in number of plays. Rushing yards may be the key. 110. They had not been running the ball well. The only turnover was an interception in the end zone, and time of possession is almost doubled. They have kept the Steeler defense on the field an awful long time, and right now the Steeler offense has to produce something. Hodge. Got to about the 42. Give him a gain of 5.
Steelers getting back to some basics. What they do best is trap. In that case, they pull their right tackle and right guard. Gives Hodge an opportunity to turn it up inside. You know, I mean, you can't fault the Steelers. Bubby said the best way to control that Steeler offense is don't let them on the football field. And that's Boomer, excuse me. I got the two B-boys mixed up that time. Boomer said to keep Bubby off the field, and that's what they've done.
Certainly have. 2nd and 5. Hodge the single setback. Four-man rush. They want to screen to Hodge. Cincinnati saw it coming, drops him for a 6-yard loss. What a play by Kevin Walker. Steelers offense really shut down except for Worley, and most of that came on a 38-yard run in the first half. Green, the leading receiver, with 2 catches, and now they face 3rd and 12. And they're doing this. The defense is a defense that has been mugged most of the year. They're doing a sensational job. Bell is in there, number 21. Brisker throws, intercepted. Picked off by Mitchell Price, but he's out of bounds. And there's a flag down. Cincinnati arguing that he was in. And now the officials having a discussion about it.
Mitchell Price, used as a special team return man, has that quickness. There you saw him close on the ball, and they wind up with the ball.
They give him the interception after the officials' conference.
Bubby makes a throw. Now he's trying to go up the field now.
We have an interception.
Oh,
And we have
no way.
a personal
He's out of
foul.
bounds.
There's no way.
63 after the interception.
No, there's no way that's an interception.
They call a personal foul after the play on Dermontti Dawson. But this will be reviewed, and this looks pretty conclusive.
This could be this. It's very, very obvious that his left foot is going to be out of bounds.
Cal LaFleur is the replay official.
Bubby's trying to get the ball to Derrick Hill. There you see he makes the catch. His right foot hits the ground. His left foot hits out of bounds. There's absolutely no question whatsoever that that is not an interception.
Clearly out of bounds. And now the officials will stop action on the field again.
Again, you have to understand. Now, I'm sure the fans are sitting there saying, geez, we've run the replay. Why haven't they communicated down to the field any quicker than that? The fact is that the instant replay officials have to first notify them and say, hey, wait a second, we want to take a look at it. Then they look at it. Then they talk to them.
Cincinnati has called a timeout with 13:18 to go in the quarter. We'll be back in a moment. On the play, he was out of bounds, but the personal foul will stand, so it is 4th and 24, and Pittsburgh will punt it away. But that is a big break for the Steelers, obviously.
We have a reversal. The play is ruled as incomplete. We have a personal foul. 63 on the offensive team. After the foul, a 4th down.
So Straczynski is in to punt, and Mitchell Price waits at his own 38.
Oh, you just got to believe that they're going to go after it. 4th down and 4 miles. You give up 5, no problem. You got them backed up. You could break the game open right now if you block it.
Straczynski gets it out of there, high and short. High and very short. Marked out of bounds at the 39-yard line, a punt of 19 yards. ESPN's coverage of the NFL begins every Sunday with Game Day at noon Eastern. Chris, Tom, and Pete preview all the day's games. Then at 7, they're back with prime time. That's a complete wrap-up of all the action. Then at 8 o'clock, Joe and I will be in beautiful San Diego as the Seahawks and the Chargers go at it. John L. Williams, and we'll also get to see Marion Butts. And there the standings. Craig Taylor in for Cincinnati. He's number 20. And Taylor will get the call. About 7 yards down to the 32.
Although Cincinnati hasn't rushed the ball well, Craig Taylor got a 4.5 average, only carried the ball 37 times, which means that, you know, I mean, when he's used effectively.
Second-year fullback out of West Virginia saw an awful lot of action when Woods was out injured. Second and 3 for Cincinnati. Brooks tried to cut it back, stopped at the 32. Nickerson makes the tackle. Got some help from David Johnson. The individual leaders in the first half. Brooks with 72 yards rushing. Also had 2 catches. And Crumry led the club in tackles with 3. He used to lead this team in tackles all the time as a noseman.
One thing that's not reflected there is one of their ball carriers, Boomer Esiason, who's really started to run the ball. Made some key runs, kept 2 drives alive by running with the football. There is passing numbers.
3rd and 4. Nice fake by Esiason, wide open, and tight end Caddis breaks it. Caddis out of bounds at the 1. Boy, it looked like he got in.
Well, when you're running the football as a quarterback, you can just hide it. And like I say, Joe Montana and Boomer Esiason, the best at hiding. Watch this play fake. He'll actually stick the ball out. Sticks it out. Good fake by the running back. Good fake by Craig Taylor. Caddis is wide open. Now the Steelers, they come up, they just can't make the tackle. Everett misses it. Caddis goes on down the field, and ball goes out of bounds at the 1.
They're replaying it here in the stadium, and the fans still thought they had the touchdown.
You run the back one way, release the tight end out the other side. There's nobody there. All the support is committed to the run, and your tight end's wide open like that.
His body got in the end zone, but as you called it, the ball went outside the cone.
Watch where the ball goes. Now it gets away from his body. The ball right now is out of bounds. And his right hand hits the cone, but the ball doesn't. There's another look at it right here. You see his right hand hits the cone, but the ball's out of bounds.
They're reviewing it. I'm sure they will spot it at the 1-yard line. And it will be 1st and goal, Cincinnati, with 11:28 to go, 3rd quarter. They're already up 10-0. And the replay booth says the play will stand as called.
First down.
Of course, the crowd wanted a touchdown. Can't blame them for that.
They want every yard
Yes,
they can get.
they do.
Yards has not been easy. These guys have been away from home a long time.
Woods and Taylor are the back. Taylor, touchdown. Ball came loose. It is a touchdown. Carnell Lake trying to return it, but it was called a touchdown, and the Steelers are really steep. Yeah, guys out there on defense throwing helmets.
Again, does he have possession of the ball when the ball breaks the plane? This is looking at it from the official who was standing. These are his eyes. There's the hit. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? The ball is in the end zone, then it comes out. That's a touchdown. Right here, you see him. Now, he's still got possession of it. He's still got possession of it. He's in the end zone. The ball does come flying out, though.
I don't know. If you go back to that other angle, the ball may have come out before he crossed the goal line. Tough to tell.
There it is. Hard to see from that angle. Now from the reverse angle. Left-hand part of your screen. Left part of your screen. Right in the middle now. See, he's
Ball's
in.
Across.
See? It only has to break the plane.
And break it did. And Breach is on for the point after. And the Bengals have built a 16-0 lead. Breach for the point after. And they're on their feet in Cincinnati. More than 60,000 loving every minute of it.
What's
ESPN Sunday Night NFL is brought to you by Subaru. We build our reputation by building a better car. And by McDonald's. You know the one. It's McDonald's for food, folks, and fun. That's the Union Terminal Museum Center. Once a beautiful old train station, now a historical museum. It reopened just last week.
Never ceases to amaze me how much information we bring to people.
Me. 17-0 Cincinnati is the information we want to bring you right now. And they have dominated this game that has been full of razor-close plays. Johnson, the kick to Woodson at the 6. Look out. Woodson to the 49-yard line. Rod Jones makes the tackle, a return of 42. This game, of course, for first place in the AFC Central. Both teams 5-4. Houston lurking at 5-5. And 2 weeks from today, these same two teams will tee it up again in Pittsburgh.
Home game, very important. The home team feels like they have to win because there's a real strong chance of losing 2 if you lose at home.
Pressure is on the Steeler offense right now. Whirling. Just launches himself forward to the 47.
Too early to try and force it if you're the Steelers to get out of your game plan. You got good field position. You're going to need 3 scores anyway. If you can get some kind of points out of this drive, either a field goal or a touchdown, then you bring yourself back in with 10:35 to go in the quarter, a chance to at least position yourself for some scores.
One of Chuck Noll's strengths over the years has been his consistency. He makes a decision that he feels is sound, and he stays with it, and that's what they did with the new offense this year, and certainly it has paid off for him. Diving for the 6 and has the first down inside the 40. Carl Zander in on the stop again, the third-year man out of Tennessee.
When I played for Joe Walton, one of the things he never got upset. He always told me, he said, listen, just relax. Don't worry about it. As a quarterback, you think, oh, God, we got to put the ball in the air right now real quick. He'll go back, he'll run the ball just to get control of the game back. That's what he's trying to do, get control of the tempo of this game back. That's why he comes out with some runs. They've been successful, starting to get a little bit more of a tempo in the Steelers' favor. Every quarterback he has ever worked with has been a much better quarterback because of it.
First and 10, Pittsburgh down 17-0. Pod dances outside, got back to the line of scrimmage, and no more gang tackled there.
I had breakfast with Coach Walton this morning. He said, you know, this is a very difficult defense to prepare for because they haven't been playing well, so they're likely to possibly come with 4 down linemen, 3 down linemen, maybe blitz some linebackers. He says it's a little bit hard to predict what they might do, which creates a little bit more of a problem in play selection. We've seen Cincinnati bring their linebackers a little bit more, specifically to stop the run.
Second and 10. Draw, whirling. Tries to reverse his field, nowhere to go. A loss of 13. Zander and McClendon made the tackle. James Francis, number 50, messed up the timing of the play and forced him to turn.
You blitz for two reasons: put pressure on the quarterback or to stop the running game. Here comes Francis. Here come the linebackers. Look at the penetration. They want to get back here to stop the trapping offensive lineman. Look at them come. Everybody's coming. Looks like a jailbreak. And Worley feels like one.
And Francis is playing with a very bad back. Yesterday they told us they didn't think he'd play. Leads the team in sacks with 7, and now it's 3rd down and a mile. 4-man rush. Brister throws short and incomplete to his big tight end, Eric Green. Couldn't hold that one. There is a flag down on the play back at the Steeler 40-yard line. It will go against Pittsburgh.
Holding, 74, offense, penalties decline, 4th down.
That's Terry Long, the right guard, but they'll decline it and bring up 4th and 23. So the Steeler offense that had been hitting on all cylinders for 5 weeks can't do it. Straczynski to punt to Price. High floating kick. Price signals fair catch. Makes it to the 16-yard line. Punt of 36. No return. Good punt by Straczynski. 26 to go, 3rd quarter. It's all Cincinnati. Bubby Brister's numbers on the night: 5 out of 12, 32 yards.
Pittsburgh's had 5 drives: punt, punt, fake field goal, stop, punt, punt. All they've had the football tonight, their offense.
Thomas Everett has bruised his shoulder, and number 22, Larry Griffin, is in the Pittsburgh secondary. Taylor bowls forward for about 4 to the 20. Both of these teams are coming off a bye. What kind of effect do you think it's had?
I think it's had a definite effect. Cincinnati needed it for 2 reasons. Cincinnati needed it because they were getting the living daylights beat out of them, and they needed to get people healthy. It helped them. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, was hot. They were rolling. I believe it's hurt them. I think it's having a direct effect on the way this game is going tonight.
2nd and 6 for the Bengals. Keep it on the ground. Taylor hitting the backfield this time and dropped for a loss of 3. Brian Hinkle came from his left outside linebacker spot. And those are the kind of plays the Steelers are going to need to get back in this game.
Keith Willis, from his left defensive end position, gets the penetration that allowed Brian Hinkle to come in and make the stop.
Esiason has hit all 3 3rd down passes he's thrown tonight. Woods is back in there. Esiason will run for this one. Has the 1st down, did not slide, dove instead and got the yardage. If he slides, he doesn't make it, and he comes up limping.
He does come up limping. Looked like he might have twisted that ankle a little bit. We talked about it earlier. The one thing that Boomer Esiason was not doing was running with the football. Here he sees an opening. He knows exactly how far he has to get. Dives up, makes a 1st down.
5 carries, 31 yards for Boomer Esiason tonight. Coming into this game, he had only rushed for 41 on the year. Brooks sandwiched as he got to the 29, a gain of 1. The other thing, a drive like this, and the drive that Cincinnati has had tonight, they eat up the clock. And right now, the clock is their best ally.
Well, it really is. You know, the thing is, even though they're at the line of scrimmage, Boomer still looks up at that play clock. It's at the 30-second, actually the 30-second clock now is 27. He sees how long it's running down. He can stand there and hold them for another 20 seconds. Using the clock as an ally, making the Steeler team stand around. Now they have to get down in the three-point stance, the Steeler players, and Boomer has his linemen in the two-point stance. So the longer those guys are down, the harder it becomes to fire out.
Comes the blitz. Esiason has plenty of time. They get to him late, and he floats it incomplete. Griffin and Brooks had some contact, but after the ball had already hit the ground. Pressure was coming from Keith Willis.
First time they've really gotten close to Boomer all night.
And still had about 4 seconds to throw.
This huddle amazed me. Coaches always used to insist, get at least 7 yards back from the ball. We don't want the other team to hear it. Here Cincinnati stands there. They tell you exactly what they're going to do, and you still have trouble with it.
3rd and 9. Of course, it's their own language, which makes it a little easier. No pressure. Boomer tries to run, then steps up and gunned it. And it went right past Rodney Holman. He didn't have a chance. Unless that sticks to him, he's not going to get it.
As a quarterback, you either got to do one or the other. You can't get caught in the middle. I mean, he almost crossed the line of scrimmage as well and wound up with a penalty.
Lee Johnson will come on to punt. He's having a fine year. And Woodson, who is second in the conference in punt returns, waits at the 30, the first time Johnson has had to punt tonight.
And Johnson is a left-footed kicker, so the ball's going to come down a little bit different angle than a lot of other kickers in the league.
Woodson takes the run, misses it. Tried to catch it on the fly, and now they'll have to unpile. The 34-yard kick, and he did the right thing to come up to try to make the catch, but you have to catch it.
I talk about it. The ball comes off the foot of a left-footed kicker, different than the largest percentage of punters in the National Football League.
Woodson got it back.
And you see how the ball is working away from him? See how it's just running away from him? You never quite can catch up with it because of the rotation.
Somehow Woodson got it back amidst a pile of Cincinnati Bengals. 4:06 to go third quarter. 17-0 Cincinnati. Cincinnati continues to dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lead at 17-0. Pittsburgh gets a break as Woodson recovers his own fumble. They'll start from the 42. And they have to get something going on offense. Brister with time, throws to Malarkey. His tight end down to the 38-yard line. 21-yard gain. Malarkey with great hands. And Joe Walton loves tight ends in the offense.
Well, he loves to include them, but he likes to have them cross across the defense. In this particular play, Bubby does a play-action fake. Now, Malarkey's on the offside, takes a little step out. See how the linebackers flow to the run fake? Now he just finds a dead area, flips his hand up, and says, hey, here I am. Takes a shot, goes down, but hangs onto the ball.
Malarkey has led this club in receiving twice during the year. 1st and 10. Worley lunges forward inside the 35. Here's the Budweiser storyline from Cincinnati. The Steelers, in their one chance to score, went with a fake field goal and didn't make it. Brister, 2 out of 4, 13 yards in the second half, and the time of possession being dominated by the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati's offense inside the 10-yard line has done the job tonight.
Pittsburgh, you got to start putting the ball up the field a little bit. You can't just settle for 4- and 5-yard gains.
Brister dumps this one to Stone, and he'll get 2. Nice defense by Carl Carter. And you have to make sure you get Stone because he has blinding speed.
Man-to-man defense, when you latch on, you got to hang on. Carl Carter chases him all the way across the field. Bubby gets the ball to him with not a lot of room to run. Can't pivot. Carter does a good job of bringing him down.
Spot the ball at the 33-yard line. 3rd and 5. Lips and Hill both come to the near side. Richter can't find anyone again. Now rolls, throws sideline, complete. At the 25-yard line, it's a first down, and Eric Green, the rookie out of Liberty, made the grab.
Great hands. Eric Green gives an awful lot of credit to Sam Rutigliano, who's coaching down at Liberty now. Said he really prepared him to become a pro. Lewis Billups covered. Talk about respect. You put your best corner on the big guy at 275. Look, see how he uses his hands? He never lets the ball get to his body. That is a disciplined receiver. About as big as the statue of Liberty,
yes, he is.
too.
6'5", 274. 6 touchdowns this year. 5 came in 2 games after he signed with the club after a protracted holdout. Clock running with 1:12 to go third quarter. Pittsburgh has been shut out. And
now,
the Cincinnati defense can be very proud of its work tonight.
Last year, going out of bounds, the clock would have been stopped. Now it keeps going until you get to the end of the game.
Comes the blitz. Brister going for Stone, an outstanding defense. Billups got inside position, and he wanted the flag thrown on Stone for offensive pass interference.
Lewis Billups in great coverage on Dwight Stone. They try and run him on an out and up. Now he has inside. Both people have an opportunity to go for the ball, except you can't maul him on the way there.
Billups has a point, doesn't he?
He really does, and this is not reviewable. So, I mean, what you see is what you get. You got a mauling, a mugging, and you got to live with it.
Right out in front of everybody, and they didn't call it. Stone just draped himself on Lewis Billups. 2nd and 10. Here comes the reverse. Lips. Nothing. Loose ball. Picked up by Bussey. Bussey is going to go all the way. Touchdown. Barney Bussey, 70 yards with a fumble recovery. They said he's replacing Fulcher, and as great as Fulcher is, we're not going to lose a lot because this kid can play.
He has made some great plays tonight. And what sets this up? We have seen how aggressive Ricky Dixon, the free safety, is. We saw him on special teams. He comes up and makes the hit. Bussey picks it up and makes his 2nd big play of the game.
The first touchdown of his career. Reach for the point after, and it's 24-0.
That's David Fulcher on the right, patting him on the back. And the strong safety has a big part in making this Cincinnati defense come up with big plays. You see Lips start on the outside, carrying the ball outside. Now Ricky Dixon comes flying up, number 29. Makes the initial hit. Francis punches the ball out. Just comes in with the old uppercut. Barney Bussey gets the right kind of bounce. And it's hello, goodbye, I'll catch you later.
Room service hop, 70 yards. And it's a loud jungle tonight in Cincinnati. Bussey out of South Carolina State in his 5th year. Getting a chance to start.
The support of Ricky Dixon coming up, keeping Lips up long enough for Francis to knock it loose. Now there's your room service bounce, Mike. Picks it off like a steak on a plate.
And Chuck Noll knows he's in a lot of trouble, down 24-0 with 32 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
He's just done an absolutely great job. Gets his first touchdown starting for Dave Fulcher, who's out for 4 weeks with a separated shoulder. But everybody I talked to said that, hey, Barney can do the job for us. He can fill in and get it done. Sure has tonight.
Here's that onside kick look from the Bengals. They kicked it away the last time they did it. If you don't give them enough respect, they can onside kick it. There's a flag down on the play. This is Woodson. Boy, he can fly across the 40. Now we'll check the penalty flag. It's back in the area where Cincinnati would be offside on the kickoff. And some pushing and shoving after the play.
Cincinnati is offside. Pittsburgh will decline it. They've had some great field position. Compliments of Rod Woodson. They started on the 49 the last time. Now they're up on the 40-yard line. Can't ask for much more from a special teams.
We have offsides. Number 55 on the kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down.
55 is Ed Brady, backup linebacker. So the Steelers now down 24 points. This is an offense in 5 games that's been averaging nearly 30 a game. They have zip tonight. Brister, the quick out to Lips. Stays in bounds, very close to a first down in Cincinnati territory.
And also very important to get the ball to the guy that just committed the turnover. Don't let him stand around on the field for a couple plays and dwell on what happened. Get him the football, get him right back in the game right now. It's a little point, but you don't want to lose a weapon like Louis Lips to a mental game.
Clock running. They will not get off a play before the end of the third period, and that will end the quarter here in Cincinnati with the Bengals rolling 24-0 over the Steelers. That said, this is the way the Bengals are supposed to play, and she's right.
Well, they really have. They're playing well on defense. The offense is controlling the tempo of the game, and special teams continues to contribute in their own way. They're doing a great job of holding Rod Woodson. Even though he's getting some big returns, he hasn't had a chance to really break one and hurt the Bengals.
15 minutes of football left. Pittsburgh at the Cincinnati 48. And they may be reduced to throwing it nearly every time now. Brister again to Lips. Stayed in bounds, picked up a couple of more. Eric Green, the big tight end, the rookie from Liberty, has a sprained shoulder, and we're told he will not return. That takes a big weapon away from him.
What you got to do now is, remember, they play again in 2 weeks in Pittsburgh. I'm sure that's what's on the mind of the coaches now. Don't want to show them too much. Yeah, you want to get back in the game, but realistically, what are the chances on offense of scoring 4 scores in this period of time? Probably not going to make it. Don't show them too much. Try not to get your people hurt, and get back some kind of a rhythm so that at least you can gain something positive out of this quarter.
There's a flag on the play. They'll move it back into Pittsburgh territory. And no explanation, which is interesting.
5-yard penalty.
Yes.
Somebody on the offense made a 5-yard mistake.
But we had to figure that one out ourselves. Steelers almost up to their season average. They've been the most highly penalized team in the league. Hodge will take it on the ground, and Merrill Hodge dives to the 45. That'll be about 7 yards shy of a first down, bring up 2nd and 7.
Tim Crumry over, assisting on the tackle. He loves these kind of football games. When I sat down with him on Friday afternoon, I said, tell me about Pittsburgh. He said, oh, Pittsburgh, God, geez, I love it. I hate these run and shoot things. Got to chase all those little guys around. Half the time I can't play in the game. Oh, I love this kind of a game. I get to smashed around. I get to smash people. There's a guy who's got a 15-inch rod in his foot.
You and Crumry are running 1-2 for the ugliest injuries I've ever seen. Brister on 2nd and 7, throws behind Bell. Ricky Dixon on coverage. Brister just doesn't seem to have a lot of rhythm tonight.
And part of the rhythm, you got to give credit to Cincinnati's defense. They're just taking their front 7. Those 7 guys right there, everybody's firing across the ball. They're not giving Bubby a chance to drop back and set his feet. See, he's got to keep his feet moving. Therefore, he can't plant and make a good, solid throw.
He's only hit 1 out of 5 on third downs tonight and has thrown for only 73 yards. 3rd and 7 here. Green back in the game, makes the catch at the 40. Straight on one man, dives over another, down to the 31, first down. Well, we just told you, Green had a sprained shoulder, would not be back. That lasted about 2 plays.
Probably heard that. Start him down in motion. He comes down in motion, goes back. Figure the defensive back's going to release him. Bubby goes the other way, dumps it off to him. Catches it at 4 yards, picks up 6 more. Boy, that's a load.
Just went right over Carl Carter.
You are tackling a man when you are trying to tackle him.
Tackling 2 men. 13:20 to go in the ball game. Up front for Pittsburgh, Carlton Hasselrig is in there to right guard for Terry Long. Brister being chased. Throws complete to Hodge, and Hodge down to the 15, make it the 17-yard line, where they mark him out of bounds. Barney Bussey took him out.
And Carl Zander had a shot at him, comes scot-free. Bubby does a real nice job, gets back in the pocket, lower left side of the screen. Here comes Zander, times the count right. He's just running free. Bubby just gives him the old sweep of the arm, gets the ball upfield. Merrill Hodge makes the play, picks up a few extra yards after the catch.
First down Steelers, marked it at the 17-yard line. Clock down to 12:47 and turning. Brister with time, throws to Bell. Bell knocked down inside the 10. It'll be a couple of yards shy of a first down.
You know what happens sometimes, Mike, is a football team sees what another ball club has done to them. For example, the Steelers saw how everybody lately has been running on the Bengals. So you set up your game plan and say, well, geez, if they pounded them, we can pound them. It sort of dictates a little bit what you want to try and do. And now we see the Steelers opening up a little bit more, which they've done more lately in throw. I think a little misleading information that the Bengals couldn't stop it.
Brister has hit 7 of his last 9, maybe too late. Here's Hodge. Nowhere to go, flag down, they'll stop the play. Kevin Walker was waiting on him on the outside as the Bengals did a nice job of stringing it out. Let's check the penalty. And it's procedure against Pittsburgh.
I'll tell you, you know.
I'll start. 77 offense. Second down.
Cincinnati doesn't get a lot of credit for being one of those loud places where it's hard to communicate, but we've seen it on 3 different occasions. Bubby Brister having trouble. There's Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator. Dave Fulcher on his left, the strong, all-pro strong safety. Said they haven't played the ball well in the secondary, and he's done an outstanding job. He knows that his defense is just good, solid defense. Not real great. The offensive side is where they expect to make it happen. Tonight, it's the defense that picked it up.
There's never been a shutout in this series. Brister trying to make sure there isn't and throws. Lips, I think, thought it was intended for someone else. Didn't even reach out an arm. Not that he could have caught it. But that was well off target.
I look at this game as the growth of Bubby Brister. Things have been, you start in trouble, now you get rolling, you think you can rule the world, you think you can, everything you throw is going to be completed. Every time you get down close, you're going to throw a touchdown pass. Then you hit a speed bump like this and he throws everything out of whack. They want to see how he's going to play now the next week against the Jets. Let's see, okay, how are you going to come back next week? Not that this one's over totally yet.
3rd and 7, that's what Brister has done on 3rd down so far. Play action. Brister throws for the end zone and throws it away. Lips was locked up. Man-to-man down there with Mitchell Price. And it's 4th and 7. Well, no matter what they do here, I think what you have to consider when the Steelers get the ball back is going to the hurry-up offense. They need 4 scores in this game.
And the thing is one of them has to be a field goal if they're going to tie it all. So you take the chance now. You've gotten down close. I'll go out on a limb. I don't think you'll see the fake again.
No.
I think you'll see, you know, you got, there's the numbers speak for themselves as far as the career of Gary Anderson.
I mean, this guy's automatic anyhow. 31-yard attempt. And the Steelers, with 11:13 to go in the game, finally get on the scoreboard. They're still down 24-3. ESPN Sunday Night NFL is brought to you by Levi's 505, 506, and 540 jeans. And by the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most. We're in Cincinnati, Ohio, where the Bengals have rung up a 24-3 lead. Talk about fur balls. 11:13 to go in the game. They're up by 3 touchdowns. Here's the kickoff. Bell. And Eric Ball is out to the 30-yard line. Tomorrow's headlines brought to you by Levi's 505, 506, and 540 jeans. Mark Rippon with an outstanding return for the Redskins as he beat the Saints. The Bills, 8 straight. Thurman Thomas had 165. The Giants have gone to 10-0, giving up 14 points in the last 3. Warren Moon had 5 touchdowns today. Happy birthday. The 49ers win their 18th straight to tie an NFL record. They're 10-0. And Kevin Butler redeemed himself after missing one. They could have won it in regulation by winning it in overtime.
I celebrated my 35th birthday by throwing 5 interceptions.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
A little pushing and shoving after this play as Ickey Woods got a couple.
Bobby Brister on the sidelines, shaking his head a little bit, wondering where did this thing get out of hand? Now you look up at the clock, it's about 40 degrees, 35 degrees, you're cold, you haven't been on the field much, and everything's a little stiffer, and you start thinking, gee, maybe we can get something happen. You want the Steelers to say, hey, come on, or the defense, come on, make a play for us. Not the ball, get something going.
Now they do need a turnover. It's not the only way they have a chance to get back in here. Woods, gaping hole. Shoves his way forward across the 40-yard line. Should be a first down. Greg Lloyd was in on the stop.
Cincinnati has run the ball to the left side over Anthony Munoz quite a bit. There he is. Reach block, gets outside. Greg Lloyd just pushes him up the field. Nobody minds watching a linebacker make a tackle 9-10 yards downfield. I mean, as an offensive tackle, you feel like, okay, I've done my job.
6'6", 284 is Anthony Munoz, just an unbelievable offensive lineman. It is a first down, and the clock continues to turn. Play action, Esiason. Floats it, and caught by Taylor. Taylor out-jumped Woodson for the ball. A gain of 20.
And that was not the primary receiver. Esiason ran the play action. They wanted to go back on the other side of the field to Tim McGee. But look at this catch by Taylor. Just does get it over Woodson's arm. Hangs onto the ball. Here's the fake. Great play fake. See how he hides it? Boy, any young guys watching out there that want to play that position, there's a man to watch. Now he just hangs it up with a lot of touch.
That was only the second catch of the year for Craig Taylor. Brooks just tripped up, nearly broke that one. David Johnson cut his legs out from under him. And I'd have to say the Bengals are back, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, their offensive line's just doing an outstanding job. Joe Walters, the right tackle, 63. Ken Moyer, right guard. Just opening some big, big holes on the right, actually right side, left side. They've run on up and down the entire line.
Brooks' career high against Pittsburgh is 133 yards. A couple of more runs tonight, he'll have a shot at that. Second and 2, Brooks again. Another huge hole. Little caught him as he got to the 25. Well, we haven't called Little's name a whole lot tonight. The younger brother of Larry, who is the leading tackler on this team. Been the leading tackler for 4 years. Never made the Pro Bowl, and a lot of people in Pittsburgh say he should have.
I think he's another one of those athletes that suffers because they vote for middle linebackers. And when you play the 3-4 defense, how do they fit you in? There are two guys that play the middle. There are a lot of guys out there that just play in the 4-3 defense as middle linebackers. They have a tendency to get the votes.
Another first down. Cincinnati, the clock down to 7:14. Flags are down. They'll stop the play.
We have an illegal snap on the offense.
Bruce Kozerski.
What's an illegal snap? It means like, I'm going to give it to you the first time. No, I'm not. Now I'm going to give it to you. If they don't see it, I mean, maybe somebody jumps off, you get a 5-yard finish. Tell you who was great at doing that. D.D. Lewis, linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, when he used to snap one punch, he used to squeeze the ball and do that, and he got away with it. Everybody would scream and yell, and they never called him for it. He was a master at it. Now on the carpet, the surface is too flat because the ball can't move.
1st and 15. Play action. Lloyd. Esiason avoids him. Throws to Caddis. And Eric Caddis has had a big night coming into this game. He had only caught 5 passes. He's had 3 tonight. Larry Griffin ran him out of bounds, a gain of 19.
When you're effective running the football like Cincinnati has been, you can get the linebackers. Watch here. All these linebackers are going to start to flow. They're going to flow. Boomer comes out, fakes. Caddis winds up out here all by himself, and there's nobody out there. Watch the linebackers. See how they flow with Brooks? They want to stop the run. Boomer holds on to it. It's almost like a naked reverse. Now Caddis is out there again all by himself. Picks up the big yardage.
Boomer has now hit 10 out of 15, 134 yards. Brooks on the sweep. Inside the 10 to about the 9. Following Ken Moyer, the pulling guard, and Ickey Woods, his fullback. Brian Hinkle in on another tackle.
The cutback running tonight of the Bengals has just been incredible. Got to give credit to Boomer Esiason. People don't realize how difficult this offense is. He calls all those things right there as they stand next to the line of scrimmage. But when he gets to the line of scrimmage, he looks at the defense and he determines whether the play is going to go to the left or cut back to the right. So he's really controlling this, orchestrating it.
It is a tremendous mental exercise to watch. Brooks. Chased out of bounds at the 8. Good pursuit by David Johnson. .5:16 to go in the game. Cincinnati trying to salt this one away for sure. And the clock will run as outside of the 5-minute mark on incomplete passes and out of bounds. They will continue to turn it.
That's one of the problems you have if you're behind. The clock really is not in your favor with the new rule changes. It doesn't give you a chance to work it. It's taken away, I think, some of the skill of being a quarterback and working the sideline.
Brooks again. Down to the 6-yard line. Gerald Williams fought off a nice block by Bruce Reimers and made the tackle. A couple of players slow getting up, and Brooks is one of them. And Jim Breach will come in on 4th and 5. Breach was cut in 1989 and brought back out of desperation. And he has had a sensational year. 14 out of 16 coming into this game, including a career-high 13 straight.
You saw his career numbers between 20 and 29 yards, 62 of 65.
Gary Anderson-like numbers, or Morton Anderson, or Nick Lowry. We have a timeout with 3:53 to go from the jungle in Cincinnati. It's all Bengals. And it has been Sam Wyche's night tonight. 2 weeks from today, they will line it up again in Pittsburgh, and Wyche will be going for a sweep.
He really, and he talked about it when we sat and visited with him. He said, we need a sweep. When you look at our schedule, we've got to beat these people twice because it doesn't get any easier as we go down the road.
Breach will try a 24-yard field goal and connect. Breach raises the ante to 27-3 Cincinnati. Started it off, made it 7-0 on a 5-yard run. Breach up the ante to 10-0 with a 21-yard field goal. Craig Taylor made it 17-0 in the third quarter. And then the one that really broke the back of any Pittsburgh comeback chance, Barney Bussey, a 70-yard fumble return. Anderson got the Steelers' only points on a 31-yard field goal, and then Cincinnati has just come back with a 7-minute, 23-second drive to go back on top by 24. Brister has had trouble finding receivers all night. This time he's got Merrill Hodge out in the flat. Dixon tackles him for a 1-yard gain.
Bubby is out of his rhythm. I mean, a lot of what this offense requires is that you drop back a certain amount of steps, set, fire the football. Cincinnati has taken away that rhythm. They've distorted it for the Steelers, and he's really had nowhere to go with the football.
He guns it incomplete, intended for Hill at the sideline this time. This is not the Bubby Brister that Steelers fans have seen the last 5 weeks. Look at that quarterback rating. That's almost off the chart, 129.1. And tonight has not been Bubby's night.
No, it really is. I mean, you know, here's a guy who has thrown 13 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions. But again, it's not just one individual. Everybody was clicking. The running game was going. It takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback.
Those were his numbers tonight. 3rd and 8. Here comes another blitz. Dumps it and caught low and behind the intended receiver, Richard Bell, who pulled it in, but gained maybe only another 2 yards.
Dick LeBeau and that defense have just done an outstanding job. It seemed like every time a Steeler was going to catch the football, there was at least 1 or 2 Bengals around. They've done it with pressure with the linebackers, matching up one-on-one outside.
Dick LeBeau's defensive back played like Dick LeBeau tonight.
He did.
Trzynski will punt as we have 2:39 to go, and Mitchell Price waits inside his 20. Pretty kick this time by Trzynski. Signals fair catch and makes it up around the 27-yard line. 35-yard punt, no return. Coming up right after our game, Sports Center. Bob Lee and Gary Miller. They'll have all the sports news and a conversation with Sam Wyche, which we think you will find very interesting. Then prime time, Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, and Robin Roberts will wrap up the day in the National Football League. And another couple of surprises, as always, and I'll go over those.
It's our own version of prime time, prime time. That's our own triple threat.
Eric Wilhelm in at quarterback. Another left-hander, and Boomer's night is done. And a very satisfactory one it was. Brooks cuts it back. Lloyd waiting for him. Steelers gang tackling. Lloyd isn't about to give up. He was still in there trying to strip the football. Esiason done for the night, 10 out of 16, 134 yards. Really, his impact was far larger than those statistics would indicate. We've reached the 2-minute warning in Cincinnati, where the Bengals are on top and in control. 3. Brooks with a chance to go over 100 yards on his next carry, and he's got it. James Brooks with his first 100-yard game of the season, had 5 a year ago, 2 of them against the Steelers.
Him being healthy has made such a difference. The 2 weeks off, I really think, has been the difference in this game, particularly for Cincinnati, to get all their weapons, as we talked about, healthy. McGee finally becomes healthy, had a terrible thigh bruise that just wouldn't go away. Brooks was banged up, sore knee, finally healed. Boomer, as we mentioned, Never said anything, but I'm sure that wrist was bothering him a little bit. Seemed to aggravate him just a little bit. Eddie Brown, a little bit of a knee problem.
Brooks again behind Stanford. Jennings out to the 38-yard line. Take a look at the rest of the games that Cincinnati has, and a tough schedule it is. After Indianapolis and Pittsburgh, they have to play the 49ers, the Raiders, and Houston 3 weeks in a row. And their last 2 games are divisional games.
Yeah, but they get a lot of them at home right here. They talk about rocking the jungle. This team has been away. All that travel, the time changes. You get on an airplane, you're arriving back at home at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It has to have a cumulative effect. And I believe it did towards the end. That's why everybody got into a funk. Now with this schedule, they can go home, into their own homes, get into their own routine. Even though they have some tough teams coming up, they have to come to Pittsburgh and play. And I would guess that the temperatures are going to change just a little bit in this area of the country as the year goes on.
This is the 5th straight time that Cincinnati has beaten the Steelers. Pick out your favorite quarter, because Cincinnati has dominated all of them until now, when it didn't matter a whole lot. Clock running with 28 seconds left.
Barney Bussey making that hit before the end of the half to keep the score at 10-0 as opposed to 10-7 was really the key to the game.
Huge play. Stanford Jennings across the 40 to about the 43, and that will be the final play of the ball game. And the Cincinnati Bengals have increased their lead in the AFC Central. They have taken first place all by themselves, as Sam Weish will come across to the middle of the field, congratulate a couple of Steeler players as he wins it 27-3. Joe, Cincinnati all the way, just very impressive.
Very impressive. They, like I said, Mike, I really believe that there's the 2 quarterbacks having a chance to visit. You know, Boomer saying to Bubby, listen, I know what you're going through. I've been through it for a long time. He's got to feel awful good about the way his football team has played. I don't think he's as sharp as he can be or probably will be, but at least he's been the complete quarterback. Did a great job controlling the running game, picked up the first downs.